blue 'cause I was green, I would die. No, I'm just playing. That's actually one of my husband's jokes. Uh, so they say you have three loves in your life. The one is the one that you think is right. It's your first love. It's the love that like you experience, and then the second love is supposed to be the hard love. It's the one that teaches you all the lessons of life, which clearly in the last video, um, that would have been the hard love. And my husband now, Jeremy, is the love that sticks. It's the one that's called the love that lasts. I just happened to marry the loves. I don't know. I was like, let's do it. Maybe most people probably didn't go that route, but everybody's life is different. Everybody's path is different, and my childhood plays a lot into that. But we'll get into those stories later. So I met Jeremy. Ironically, Sean and I were split up for 2 years, and but it was like I couldn't let go. He couldn't let go. It was just like we were back and forth, and we knew it wasn't going to work as a couple anymore. It was like just getting harder as his chemical use increased during that time. Sean's chemical increased during that time. And I was going through my own things, and I decided like the last minute, because I just needed to get away to take a trip to Seven Springs, which is a ski resort like right by about an hour from us. And I loaded the kids in the car, all four of them, 13, 14 and down. And we're on the turnpike, and my car broke down, the van. And I called Sean because I didn't have anybody else. My father's not in my life. And he never showed up for those things anyway. And my mom couldn't fix a car, so there we are. But anyway, I called Sean, and he said to me, no, I'm sorry, I'm going out with some friends. I can't help you. And I was like, are you really going to leave us stuck on the turnpike? And this was like truly when things started to decline, because I as much as like I talk about him like changing my life, like some of the changes were hard changes, and he was a good man. And one of the reasons I want to share this story is because like chemicals changed him, and that was ultimately why we couldn't be together. But this moment in particular was like, wow, you're gonna leave me and the four kids, and one of them is his biological, like on the turnpike. So I sat there and I cried for a minute, and then I prayed for a minute, and then the car started, and so I hit the gas, and it would only go 20 miles an hour. And crazy, I get off the Donegal exit, which is the way to go to Seven Springs, and I'm barely getting I'm off the turnpike now. And as I pull over, and there's moments in my life that I swear things aren't even real, like that I have angels. So anyway, sorry, I got off the turnpike, and there was a garage opened at like 8:30, and it was a small garage, and it was like up the hill just a little bit. And so my oldest son, like, I stayed back with the kids, got him across the street. He ran up and said, my mom needs help with the car. Can you help us? And so the mechanic came down, and he looked in the car, and it was just a belt. And he told me that he could get his friend to take me to Mount Pleasant, which was like 20 minutes away, to buy a belt, and he would put it on for me. And I was so thankful because had no idea what I was going to do. And for this garage to be open, and it was like literally the size of a shed. I mean, one car may have fit in it, barely. It was not a big place. So his buddy picks me up, with his wife and three kids in the back. And I locked my kids in the car, and I said to Anthony, under no circumstances do you like unlock this car or get out of this car, because I had to leave them back to get this belt. And now in hindsight, that was crazy. I probably should have just sent the family with the money to get the belt or done. But I was 32 years old and stranded and did not know what to do. So we picked up the belt. I came back, he puts the belt on, I make the Seven Springs. So I get up there, and after I got all the kids settled, I decided to go downstairs, and I was going to have a a cocktail, just unwind, and then go back up to the room. So I tucked everybody in, and Anthony was keeping an eye on, so it was Isabel. They're a year and a half apart, so they were the oldest. They were good together. And as I'm walking down, there was a woman in the hallway, and she was crying, and she was intoxicated, and she like was kind of walking behind me. Very long hair, Penguins t-shirt, just jeans, like not dressed up, simple woman. And she the crying, I couldn't turn my back on it. I tried. I was like, no, don't do it, Heather. You're like, you deserve a night for you. Like, you deserve a night. And I couldn't. And so I turned around and asked her if she was okay. And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. And I've learned in life that as soon as someone says, I don't want to talk about it, they're going to talk about it. They're about to tell you everything. So anyway, she starts saying she's fighting with her boyfriend and how upset she was. And I just had this really weird feeling because of the abuse that I have endured, that this woman must be abused on some level. Emotional abuse is like, it doesn't leave a mark that you can visibly see, but I've suffered through both. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'd much rather be punched in the face than have my spirit broken. That's the honest God truth. Sad thing to say, but it's true. So I said to this woman, does he touch you? Does he hit you? And she was like, yeah. And I then immediately like took her under my wing, and I said, like, you don't need to put up with that. And she was like, I just don't know what to do. And then she starts saying like, she was like, they're not even married. They had no kids. They'd only been together a few months, like 4 months, like unmarried, no kids. And I just looked at her and I was like, girl, run, get out of there now. Like, you're not in a situation like I was, like everything depended on me. And she's by herself. Then she was like, oh, well, my dad and my brother would kill him if they knew. And I'm like, well, then tell them. If you can't get out of it, tell them. But you need to get out of that. And so I walked her to the bar, and I walked her outside, and I was trying to calm her down because I felt so bad, and trying to build her self-esteem, because obviously like that's the first thing they take, And so all of a sudden, like, he's up on the balcony of the Matterhorn, and we're down there, and they're screaming at each other on the phone, and I just got this really fearful feeling, and I'm like, it'll be my luck. This guy like is crazy, pulls a gun out, shoots to try to kill her, and kills me with 4 kids. And so I walked away. I was like, I don't need to be a part of this anymore. And I went and sat down against a wall on a bench where he couldn't see me anymore. So they hung up, and she's still crying, and she comes over and she sits next to me. And then all of a sudden in enters Jeremy, my husband. Boy, I don't even know how to explain this one. He had a cigarette behind his ear, gauges, a North Hills soccer cutoff t-shirt on, a tan khaki like cargo shorts, kind of saggy, but spiky hair, like full of life. Like also no fear. I must like these guys with no fear. But anyway, he walks out. And he walks over to us and me and this girl, and he asks me for a cigarette. Now, at the time, I did socially smoke whenever I drank. I like to have a cigarette, like, from time to time, but I was never actually a smoker. And I did have them, actually, but I wasn't sharing. At this point, I was aggravated. I was like, I cannot believe this night. I'm like, first of all, I just wanted to, like, get away, my car breaks down. Then I just want to have a drink, and I have to help this lady. Not have to, but my heart wouldn't let me not do it. And then now all of a sudden I got this like kid coming out here asking me for cigarettes. And then I said no, because I was like just over everything. I haven't had a drink yet. He was like, okay, I'm going to go find one and I'll be back because you look like my kind of people. Well, I knew he was talking to me because of the way that he looked. It's hard to explain, but anyway, he looked at me. So he comes back with his cigarette, and he's starting to talk to us. All of a sudden, the door flies open. This little man runs out like an ape. He and starts chest bumping Jeremy. Okay. And the woman is sitting on the bench, like just quiet. And he's yelling at him, and he's like, did you get her effing number? Do you want to F her? Like, he's freaking out, like totally freaking out on Jeremy. And Jeremy like hits his cigarette, calm as can be, like, and he blows that out, and he looks at me, and he goes, is this guy kidding me right now? And I lost it. I laughed so hard. And I looked at him in his eyes, and he started to laugh so hard. Now we're both giggling our faces off. Like, we can't even contain ourselves. And this guy gets even more angry, and he was like ready to cause a fight. Well, I had to stop laughing, and I was like, no, 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 no. I'm like, this is my boyfriend. We're here together for the weekend. Your girl was just upset. We were trying to console her. And the guy looked at Jeremy and was like, is that true? No, I've met a lot of men in my life. And they're not always this quick. Like, normally, like, but he said, yeah, it's my girl, without skipping a beat. And it made my heart flutter. I don't know how to explain that. But I was just like, he made me laugh, and he made me feel special in like 5 seconds. So then he says, well, I'm going to buy all your drinks, because the guy left. You know, they're gone. He's like, I'm going to buy all your drinks tonight, which I've never really let anybody buy me drinks, because I didn't want what came with that. And even the relationships that I were in, financially, I was not spoiled. I'll put it that way. I was not spoiled. So we go over and we have a drink together or whatever, and we're just hitting it off. Like, we're talking back and forth and having fun, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, I'm here for a wedding. You want to meet my parents? And he walks me over to this table, and his mom looked at me like, oh no. I think she still feels that way. Anyway, and they introduced me, and then I met all of his friends and the friends of the wedding, and she took a photo of us. She actually has the very first photo of us. I don't know where that photo is. I should probably get a hold of her. And then all of a sudden, like, the Seven Springs, the guards, the security people, whatever, they were running around, and Jeremy was like, is it really that serious that they have those earphones in? Because they looked like the FBI, and it was just so funny, because I'm like, yeah, really, why? And then Jeremy said, well, what does his badge say? And I didn't know that he was a movie buff, like, I would not have known that. And so I was like, I level with the badge, because I'm so short. I'm all of a whopping 5'2". And I looked, and I leaned into Jeremy, and I was like, Agent 007, Agent 009, not 007. I messed up my own joke. Go, Heather. And he paused for a second. He started laughing, and he goes, you're smart. And I was like, well, yeah, I own my own salon, and, I have my own business and whatever. And so he was like, well, you're coming with me tonight. Like, almost like a caveman kind of. He just took me, and I went. So I went up to a party at his, the wedding party. I met all of those friends, and then we went back to one of the other friends' rooms and had a drink on the balcony. And then at that point, everybody was going to bed, and he looked at me and said, well, I'm not ready to leave you. And I was like, okay, but I'm like, you can't come stay with me, because I'm staying with some people. And he was like, you have kids, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. And he was like, how many? And I was like, I'm not even gonna tell you, and he goes, I bet you got 4. That blew my mind, because, well, first I got a little mad, because I'm like, do I look like I have 4 kids? Because I don't, and I worked hard for that. But anyway, he said, well, we can't go back to my room. I'm staying with my parents. And at that point, I'm like, how old are you? Like, I am not, because I was 36 years old, and just done with bullshit, and done with, like, liars, and done with just pain. I just, like, I wanted everything to be just raw, upfront, honest, and just get it over with. So we he's 26, and I laughed, and I was like, well, that's not as bad as what I thought, but I was like, I'm like, we can hang out, but I'm kind of done with the young guys. And he was like, well, just give it a chance. So I took him back to my room. I know, judge me if you want, but I'm a pretty good judgment of character, even though I have some pretty rough stories, but those were more relationship stories. Usually when I meet someone, I just can tell instantly if they're good or bad. I don't know how to explain that either. But anyway, so I was like, you can come back to my room, but don't wake the kids up. Like, we're gonna sneak out on the balcony and we'll talk. And I'm like, I don't really have anything to, maybe I did have something to drink. I don't remember. But anyway, so we get on the balcony, and this was Saturday or Friday night, and he says, so tell me your story. Like, why are you a single mom with 4 kids? Like, that has to be hard. And I teared up because, like, no one has ever asked me anything like that before, or if it was hard, or if I was having a hard time. And this stranger that I met like 2 hours before that, well, probably 4 at this point, but cared enough to ask me how I got into my situation and how I was doing. And I was going through a very difficult time. The first husband had called CYS on me a total of 5 times in my lifetime, but all unfounded. But he just really liked to stick it to me. When he left, he said, I'm going to do everything in my power to ruin your life. And he tried, but he did not succeed. He didn't. All he did was fuel my fire to, like, fight back harder, be stronger, get better. Like, and I'm not going to say that those times didn't drag me down, because they did. And I went through a very rough patch then. That was probably the hardest patch, was right when I met Jeremy. So after I tell him all of my story, he says, well, I have a record. I'm like, oh, of course you do. And it was a DUI. It was nothing like exasperating. I was like, oh God, like whatever. It was a minor thing. And so he showed it to me, pulls it up and he shows it to me. He's like, well, what do you think? And I was like, but I don't know. I have some questions. And we talked about his life then. And we just talked all night till the sun came up, like literally just talked, like, and learned about each other. And he was like, well, we exchanged numbers. And, I was hoping he would text me the next day, and he didn't. And I was just kind of like, bummed, and I was like, I really thought I had a connection with this person. And Anthony, my oldest son, was like, well, he's at a wedding, we'll find him. And well, they must have met. This is so long ago. He did wake them up. I'm gonna start this whole story over. That sucks because it was so good. Fuck it, I'm not gonna start over. Oh, I said a bad word. Anyway, he fell and hit his head off a nightstand the first night and woke Anthony up. That's how Anthony knew he was there. And they had like an Xbox battle or whatever. And when he hit the nightstand, like, he saw Shia, my youngest, was like sleeping almost underneath of Isabel. And it was, he said, I'm pretty sure that girl is suffocating that baby. And I started laughing because, like, that's how babies sleep, like on their face with their butt in the air. And Isabel sat up and she put her hair back. I swear that was like the prettiest I've ever seen her look. I don't know why. She just had this gorgeous little face on her. And she goes, hey, Mom. And I said, hey. And I said, this is a friend from Pittsburgh, because he was from the North Hills. And because I obviously didn't want her or them. And again, looking back, I would not make those choices anymore. But I was young and stupid with 4 kids, just trying my best to navigate my life. So he never texted the next day. We go on about our business. I reached out like in the middle of the day because I was like, well, I'm not going to let it go. Like, because I don't ever, if I want something, I go after it. And I liked him. So I reached out. I don't hear nothing. And then I texted again, like way later, like one more time. And I didn't hear nothing. So I was like, all right, well, forget it. I'm just not going to worry about it. Guess it's not going to work out. So I go down to get the kids all situated again, and I walk down to the Matterhorn, and this is Saturday now, and to be honest with you, the day before was so stressful and upsetting that I didn't remember what he looked like. Like, I kind of did, but I was like, is that him? Because it was dark and he was in a suit. So, someone in cut off tee in a suit, it was hard to tell. But so he walks up and he was like, hey. And I was like, hey, I texted you today. Like, and he was like, yeah, I know, I got it. And he was like, but I was with my friends and my family and I didn't feel like answering right then and there. Do you have a problem with that? And I was like, actually, no. And I should have been like hurt, but I wasn't. I was just like glad he didn't say some stupid crap like, oh, it didn't come through, or I didn't see it, or I didn't get it, or no, you didn't, or maybe I have the wrong number, or like he was just point blank honest, like that. This is the way it goes, like. And so we start to hang out. We're dancing a little bit, and he buys me another drink, and then he goes up to the bar to get another drink, and the bartender won't wait on him, and he's getting increasingly angry, or not angry, but just mad about it. And so finally the bartender comes over and he was like, what can I get you? And he goes, 11 shots of Jaeger. And the bartender was like, you're out of here. Now, I don't know why he kicked him out just because he said that. Because it was like, he didn't freak out. It wasn't anything bad, but he pissed this bartender off. And so when he saw the bartender like go to get security to take him out, he just looked right at him and he goes, and you know what? Now I'm leaving because no one kicks me out of a bar. And he walked out. Now I'm like, okay, like, do I follow him and look like I'm with him, or do I wait, or what do I do? And I waited till he walked out for a minute, and then I walked out, and I figured like, well, if I see him, I see him. If I don't, I don't. And he was at the top of the steps, and we just hung out again that night. We hung out on the balcony, and we talked again all night. And he said, so do you think we can do this? You want to see me again? And we both admitted he was seeing another hairstylist, and I was still kind of seeing my ex-husband, like, but it wasn't, I was comfortable. That's where I was at that point. But anyway, so we go home and we try to talk, and we don't talk. Like at first 3 weeks we talked like a good bit, like we even visited a couple times. But he just was not giving me the attention that I deserved, the attention that I wanted. I deserved more, and I finally knew that. Like I really did. And I still had a lot to learn, and I learned that with Jeremy. And he did too. He learned stuff with me. But he is the love that lasts because we have worked through every single thing together. He adjusts when he needs to. I adjust when I need to. We respect each other, and we do our best to make each other happy. I'm not going to say that it's not a marriage, because all marriages have their days, where you want to kill each other. And but all in all, like, he is my partner in my business. He is my partner in my life. And we've also had some rough times together because we both come from similar situations at childhood. And you have to like work through that together. And sometimes pain comes with that. And the difference, though, I don't know how to explain, is that like you could see that he's changing and trying to change and do all the things that like we need to do to have a better, healthy lifestyle. And because we had a rough go in the beginning too. Came from a family of drinkers. He comes from a family of drinkers. Like that was a normal way of life. Like we were both at the bar. We were kids. Like, it's just not. I would never take my kid to a bar, like now. But it was a different time. And like, I know I'm getting off the subject of Jeremy, but I want to wrap it up here with this part, and then I'm going to go back and finish our story. But one of the things I want to focus on with the abuse and the trauma on my channel is that like we have all come from something traumatic, and we're all trying to get through it. And so like sometimes like there are people that are willing to work through that trauma, change, and come out the other side stronger, better, and a more knowing and understanding. And then there are people that will repeat their cycle, not not get the help that they need, not focus on their heart and their healing, and prayer, and whatever you pray to. I'm not a picky prayer person. Like you pray to whatever you pray to, spiritual, and move forward. And this man has done all of those things with me, for me, and together we have done it. So back to after 3 weeks, I say to him, I just don't. I want more attention. I deserve more. And he apologized. He's like, you're right. I'm sorry. You do deserve more. And I'm sorry I can't give that to you right now. And I'm like, that's fine. So 3 weeks go by, I was going out with other people. I met this kid, 21, no business doing that either. But he took me salsa dancing. He was from Honduras. And I was like, yes. And so the night he takes me salsa dancing, we go to the south side, and I'm wearing this dress with red roses on it. Actually, it was the same dress I wore to the Valentine's Day date with the first husband. That's so crazy that I even remember that. But his friends, who none of them spoke English, they all spoke Spanish. I was the only one, me and him, that spoke English. They were not down with the salsa dancing. So we went to another place in the city, and it was more of a club environment. It was called the Matrix. There was like 4 clubs, but I don't think it was called the Matrix anymore. I think they had changed it into something else, but this has been a while now. We're talking like 12, 13 years. And we walk in, and I walk up to get a drink after 3 solid weeks, and I look up, and standing across the bar is Jeremy. And I felt someone like grab me by the throat, and I was like, I am so screwed. I'm in love with this guy. Like, how is this possible? Like, it was a weekend and a 3 weeks of conversation. I don't know how this is possible. And I shook my head, and the other guy's trying to buy me a drink, and I'm just like, I need a minute. And I walked over to Jeremy, and he grabbed me and kissed me like I was his. Like, it was like, no, it was I know, I can't even explain it at all. And so he's like, come home with me. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I came with them, and I'm leaving with them. And like, if you should have taken me out on a proper date. Like, I told you that. This is where I'm at, blah, blah, blah. So I left. And I got in the car with the other friends and everybody, and he had to drop all of them off and all their places. And about 15 minutes in, I get a phone call from Jeremy, and he says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm on my way home. Why? And he goes, good, because I'm in a cab on the way to your house. Now, here's some things that probably should have been red flags. Like, that's probably not, like, that was a little aggressive, but to me, it was romantic. Like, and maybe that's crazy to some of you out there, but we all have everything that's happened to us brings us different feelings. And so to me, the fact that somebody would pay for a cab to drive from the Rivers Casino to North Huntington just to see me at 3:30 in the morning, I thought it was romantic. And when I got there, because the other kid was pissed, that I was taking forever, or that I was going home to this other person, and he was driving like super slow, like 25 miles an hour. And Jeremy called, and he was like, I'm calling a cab. I'm leaving. It's cold. He waited like almost 2 hours for me. Like, after them dropping everybody off. That was not on purpose, but I finally yelled at this kid, and I was like, listen, you're 21 years old, bro. Like, and nothing's happening. Okay. And I was just like, this guy might actually want to be a part of my family. And unless you plan on raising 4 kids, I suggest you put your foot on that pedal. And he put his foot on the pedal. And when he dropped me off, he had energy drinks and chips and pop for the kids. And we opened the door, and my house was a mess because I was a single mom with 4 kids and a job. And I just tired and wanted time for me. And I couldn't keep up with the house, running a business and managing employees. And managing kids. So he looked at the sink, and he was like, why don't we do these dishes together? And I was like, okay. And so he picked up the dish. Now I'm going to cry about this one. And he was like, so, Anthony's my bro, right? He's already my bro. And I was like, uh-huh. And he goes, and Isabel, well, she's your tough cookie, but I'm going to crack her. And this amazed me because he met them once for like 5 minutes. And then he said, and Adrian, he said, well, fuck, I'll take Adrian to the theater if that's what he needs me to do. And then Shia, the baby, he was like, she already loves me. And I just like smiled at him and he goes, so I think I want to try this. You think you might want to try this? And I said, yeah. And he said, the only thing I'm scared about, and I was scared to death of what was coming out of his mouth next. And he said, is that I'm going to fall in love with all 5 of you, and my heart can't break 5 different ways. And we have been together ever since. And I don't know what story I'm going to tell next, because these are the 3 that changed my life. So now we're going to be getting into the life, but you needed to know who they were before I could tell my story. I hope you're all having a great day. I hope you're all falling in love and doing it right and respecting each other. And I will see you the next time.